Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, everyone who is joining us from Sri Lanka as well as from other countries to this special webinar organized by the Agriculture Alumni of Faculty of Agriculture at University of Peradeniya. COVID-19 and its impact on agriculture and food security has become hot topics in the past and present, and it will be in the foreseeable future as well. It has been discussed in many forums. But today, the webinar organized by the AAFAUP is going slightly beyond that. We are trying to focus on the engagement of trained manpower that is specifically focusing on agriculture graduates. So to see what their role play is, what is in store for them in the post-pandemic era. There are 8 faculties of agriculture in the university system of Sri Lanka. Every year, about 800 graduates will enter the society who are capable of tackling many challenges in the agriculture and food industry. Going back, about 2 years ago, the University Grants Commission conducted an employment survey, which clearly revealed that the agriculture graduates have found employment during a short period of time after their graduation. That is the good news. But whether all these agriculture graduates serve the agriculture sector is a matter of concern of many people. In the post-pandemic era, it's very important for us to know at this stage, as I told you a little while ago, to see what sort of challenges are there and how we can convert these challenges to opportunities, and to see how agriculture graduates start contributing to agriculture and economic development of Sri Lanka. With this thing in mind, with this main objective in mind, the Alumni Association of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya organizes this workshop. To start today's proceedings, let me now invite the President of the AAFAUP, Dr. Keerthi Mohotti, to give the welcome address.
Marambe. Good evening, fellow alumni members, eminent panel members, moderator of today's webinar, and the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, and ladies and gentlemen. My role at this virtual gathering as President of AAFAUP on behalf of the Executive Committee is to introduce the basis of organizing this event. The Alumni Association comprises of much needed, trained manpower such as academics, administrators, scientists, scholars, entrepreneurs, and technocrats who are able to steer the development programs of the country, especially the agriculture and food sectors, by networking agriculture professionals. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, agriculture education in the universities of Sri Lanka commenced since independence, pioneered by Peradeniya, which we are proud of. Conventionally, the agriculture graduates are offered teaching and practical training and hands-on experience to face the challenges, as Prof. Buddhi said, in food security, demanded by increasing population pressure, drastic changes of climate, gradual diminution of resource base, including the workforce in agriculture, sudden pest and disease outbreaks, ever-changing international requisites on good agricultural practices and good manufacturing practices, etc. The Executive Committee of the Alumni recognized that the globally hit COVID-19 pandemic to the agriculture sector as a whole, among the other service and industry sectors. So this was somewhat challenging to us. Therefore, as a deep sense of obligation, the Alumni Association decided to hold this virtual session at this meeting moment on the subject of looming post-COVID-19 challenges in agriculture and food industry, preparedness of agriculture graduates. by bringing in three prominent role models of the agriculture and food sectors to the webinar platform today. Our expectation, ladies and gentlemen, is for young alumni to showcase the roles that agriculture and food sectors could play in the post-Covid-19 era, and also to show how well the agriculture graduates should be prepared to meet such challenges that we intend discussing this evening. Executive Committee is also planning to document the salient points out of the webinar today, which should certainly be useful for the education, research and development, and post-COVID policy interventions to develop intersectorial linkages of the faculty, line agencies of the government, private sector organizations, and non-governmental organizations. Finally, my appeal, colleagues, especially to the agriculture graduates, is to make use of the deliberations of the webinar this evening and to realign your thinking and plans to further reinforce the capabilities that you already have as an agriculture graduate to contribute more efficiently by developing a culture of care, compassion, and commitment under post-COVID-19 scenario. Thank you once again, and I wish you a productive session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Keerthi Mohotti, the President of the Alumni Association of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, for delivering that welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, my next invitation is for a special person, is the patron of the AAFAUP and Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, Prof. Gamini Pushpakumara. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Buddhi. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. President, Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, Secretary and Exco members, panelists today, moderator, staff members from the Faculty of Agriculture, deans of other faculties who join from Zoom technology, students of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, and students of all other faculties of agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, as the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, I welcome all of you to the Faculty of Agriculture and this particular webinar on blooming during this post-COVID period. Well, I think this particular pandemic created a big problem for not only the faculties but also entire world. I think all these problems we need to solve with kind of a preparedness. And within the university system, we're trying to prepare for graduating our students as quickly as possible. As the leading Faculty of Agriculture within this Sri Lankan university system, we were able to graduate our students very recently on 3rd of July, and I hope that they are prepared during this pandemic period to serve. However, their preparedness needs to be supported, and in this regard, so I must thank actually the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture to consider about that with 3 eminent panelists, and those eminent panelists advisors and understanding and their experience might be very useful because they have faced with their challenges and they have supported their institute in a better way to prepare for this particular case. In this regard, I think I must thank actually Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, being organizing this and conducting this for the benefit of the graduates as well as the graduates of not only the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, and entire graduates and graduates of university system, all agriculture graduates, and that support actually not only graduates to find their employment better way, but it probably serve better way to the country as well. So I hope that this webinar is a very useful one for the all undergraduates and all graduate students. And I request from all students to use this experience and use this time very effectively. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Professor Gamini Pushpakumara, the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. As he said, we are trying to prepare the youth, the young agricultural graduates to face the challenges in the society. in a new normal, as we talk about, we speak of, which you really do not know exactly. But we are the people who are going to create the future. You, including us, will do it together. And with that in mind, the AAFAUP has not restricted this webinar for our own graduates. We are inviting, and we have invited all the young graduates from other faculties of agriculture in Sri Lanka, and also who are staying abroad, to join us to see what is in store for you and what sort of line of thinking is there with respect to the development agenda of Sri Lanka. In a webinar, ladies and gentlemen, there are certain ground rules that we have to follow. So allow me to spell out those ground rules so that we are sure the matter can be continued, the proceedings can be conducted smoothly. The first important thing, all participants who are joining online are kindly requested to mute their microphones as well as videos. The questions can only be asked by posting those questions in the question and answer forum in the Zoom software. And I'm sorry that no one will be allowed to ask questions verbally because of the time constraints and so on. In the QA platform, when you post a question, please make sure that you direct the question to one of the panelists whom I will be introducing in a while, so that the question can be directed to the person during the panel discussion or after the panel discussion in the special QA session. For those who are joining online once again, I must let you know that all panelists are here in this one very place at the faculty board room of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, physically present. So this is a new novel thing that's going to come into picture. We have everybody seated in a row together, physically present, and try to respond to the questions for the benefit of a wider audience who is physically present at this location as well as joining online. You will see in a while, ladies and gentlemen, there's a bigger audience physically present. When you see a wider angle of this room, you see quite a number of people physically present with us, and I kindly request from them as well to put their microphones in the silent mode, put their mobile phones in the silent mode, and make sure the proceedings will function smoothly. If at all, ladies and gentlemen, if at all it's going to be a technical fault at any given time, the organizers have also looked into alternate measures. So if there is a technical error during the program, please stay with us. We'll come back to you soon with an alternate mode of operation. So those are the general ground rules of operation. It's my pleasant duty now to introduce to you all the distinguished panelists that's here, who are here on the invitation of the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. On to my left-hand side, we have Dr. W.M.W. Weerakoon, the Director General of Agriculture, a department established in 1912. Department of Agriculture, being a main state agency, is the responsible entity to look at the research and development in the agriculture sector of this country. And majority of the employees in the Department of Agriculture at the highest hierarchical level are from faculties of agriculture. So let's listen later to what Dr. Weerakoon will have to say. On to my right-hand side is Dr. Warusavithana, who is the president of the Organization of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka, an entity that was established in 1975, now house 51 professional agencies in this country, catering to about 38 disciplines and having a membership of more than 60,000 people, academics, professionals, scientists. Such a huge organization for a person who is giving the leadership. Then thirdly, we have a member, a distinguished character from the corporate sector, Mr. Sumith Liyanage, who is the head of the R&D division of the Unilever Sri Lanka. Now, Unilever Sri Lanka in the corporate sector, I must tell you, has also won the multinational corporate brand award recently in 2020. There's one of the large number of feathers in their cap. An agency that is representing the food and beverage industry in Sri Lanka will be an important component. And let's see what Mr. Sumith Liyanage has in store for us, for our young graduates. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that star-studded group of people who are here, let me now move on to the panel discussion. Dr. Weerakoon, the first question goes to you. Agriculture and food security are two key things that have become a global priority at this particular stage. What is the vision of the Department of Agriculture to meet the challenges related to food security in this post-pandemic era?
Yes, Buddhi, thank you very much. Let me at the outset thank the Alumni Association of the Department Faculty of Agriculture for inviting us for this important discussion on post-COVID in agriculture and food industry. Now, the food security and agriculture, as I see, they are together, right? In Sri Lanka, if you think of agriculture and food security, we are self-sufficient in rice. We produce roughly about 2.4 million tons of rice, and that right now in this year we have excess rice, and we don't need to worry about rice in this country. When it comes to other crops like maize, other field crops like maize, we need roughly about 500,000 tons of maize for the normal consumption, very small amount, human consumption, but the large amount for as feed. And then we need cowpeas, green gram, all kinds of legumes. Over the last so many years, all these items were imported to this country, most of them. But if you think of maize, we imported 20% of the requirement. Big onion, 80% of the requirement, cowpeas and all that, the requirement of this thing. So we import a lot of food items to this country, and we made the country food secure based with these imports. On the other hand, the vegetables, we are self-sufficient in vegetables, of course. We don't import any vegetables into this country. Fruits again, tropical fruits, we are self-sufficient and we don't import tropical fruits, but we do import temperate fruits like apple and all these things. Now, with this COVID situation, what happened was everybody was thinking that our imports will go down and we will not be in a position to import any food material to this country even for a shorter period of time. That happens. In the other hand, what happened was with the COVID, our inflow of foreign exchange went down. The apparel sector was down, tourism sector was down, and the remittance from foreign exchange, foreign workers went down. So because of that, no foreign funding coming in, and the government was facing a big difficulty. With that, government started the Saubhagya Dakma, the Agricultural Innovation Development Program. So with that only the government, of course, gave a lot of subsidies to the farmers. Subsidies in the sense price was fixed of all these crops, 16 crops, and then they were issued with seeds for cultivation, and then gave the insurance and all the packing. Farmers started cultivating. So with this COVID situation, of course, we are agriculture sector, I would rather say, was benefited with this situation. The production has gone up. As I see here now, when you compare to normal yellow season, which is right now going on, we are now in a position that we have increased the production by almost 100, 120, 30%. So when you think of the food security as a whole, we don't have much effect. We are trying our level best to make self-sufficient in all those crops, food items in the country.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Weerakoon, for explaining us how Department of Agriculture look at the future to make sure the production and productivity of the sector will be improved. Thank you very much. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. W.M.W. Weerakoon, the President Director General of Agriculture, is a graduate of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. Let me move on to another special guest, Mr. Warusavithana. who is the president of the Organization of Professional Associations in this country. Mr. Warusavithana, OPA plays a very important role in becoming an advisory organization to the many governments since its inception in 1975. Now, what are the key advocacies of OPA to the government of Sri Lanka right now in developing agriculture during this post-pandemic?
Thank you, Buddhi. I'm honored actually and thankful to the organizing committee to be invited. And as you introduced me as the OPA president, and I must say that we represent 32 professionals of Sri Lanka. It's the view of entire professional fraternity, I believe, of Sri Lanka. So we have been, even before COVID situation, we have many concerns, serious concerns about the agriculture in this country, because the key priority areas that we are talking, it's the national security, and then the food security is very important because we were always debating within the group that contribution to the GDP, the agriculture contributions becoming low and roads, less than 10%, and also an employment of the population about more than 28%, somewhere around 28% in the agriculture in the population. So OPA as a professionals actually we have a concern why it's becoming low and in terms of the food security that we are going to face in this important future. Because it's connected with the national security as well. We have some concern about the national security. If you look at the past of OPA, we analyzed these threats and suggested some solution to the government. Because initially it was the economic policy development we got together with the 11 association in 1975 and the advisory capacity to the government. Now we are strengthened with 51 associations. And we have a special committee to talk about the agriculture, environment, land, and the human settlement. So what we have been advocating in the before COVID is the uncertainty of the agriculture in the country, that the farmers do not get right price, and in terms of the economic benefit to the farmers is not properly distributed because of that there's a huge income disparity. Producer, the farmer, and the income that one thing, it's a lower income situation, and the youth, why the youth is not attracted to the agriculture, the farming. I'm not talking about the agriculture graduates, and also we had a concern about why the agriculture graduates also are not really contributed, because if you look at agriculture, they're very smart, I would say, with a very comprehensive education at the university. Even the agriculture diploma holders, that matter, and they get, I believe that they have enough employment opportunity, but real contribution to the agriculture sector is a bit of a question. Because if you look at the banking sector, the financial sectors, as other industrial sectors, in the service sector, agriculture graduates are playing very important role. They are attracted, but in terms of the contribution that they give to the real agricultural activity is a bit of a problem. But there are contribution given by various other categories. So we had this concern, and we were talking about the models, and especially the mechanization, farm mechanization, and we were giving the government every year, because it is our routine duty that we give the budget proposal to the government every year, and we talk about agriculture, the input that we put, how it should be, how it should be, and it is not the view of the agriculturists basically, and it is the view of the various other professionals, because it's like oasis where we have critical thinking. That even agriculture is putting any proposal, that is how we are going to go forward and how we are going to make a contribution, but it's in OPA, of course, it's looked at in a different perspective. Maybe the economics perspective, the indigenous perspective, and the various other perspective and give it. So I believe this time, of course, this particular committee, that Agriculture, Environment, and the Land Settlement Committee, got the proposal from Sri Lanka Institute of Agriculture, formerly called as Sri Lanka Organization of Agriculture. We are very happy. And that proposal is taken the base proposal, and it was debated. And most of the proposals made by the Sri Lanka Institute of Agriculture is accepted in the committee, and that proposal was actually forwarded to the government, and we gave to the president. Because it's within the framework of discuss of this prosperity, and especially we focused at the people-centric economy, and the proposals given by the Sri Lanka Institute of Agriculture are also within that framework. So we are happy that the Institute of Agriculture is giving the proposal, which became the base proposal for the agriculture.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saman Warusavithana. I think I should take this time to congratulate you first, at the outset, for being appointed as the President of the OPA, which happened quite some time back. And I must also let the audience know that Mr. Saman Warusavithana is a graduate in agriculture from Faculty of Agriculture at University of Rohana. Let me take a few seconds to talk about the Sri Lanka Institute of Agriculture that Mr. Warusavithana was referring to. The Sri Lanka Institute of Agriculture was formerly the Sri Lanka Organization of Agriculture Professionals, which finally got converted into SLIAC, Institute of Agriculture, which is also a member of the OPA and comprise a large number of professionals related to the agriculture sector in this country. Thank you very much, Mr. Warusavithana, at this particular stage. Okay, let me now move on to look at the views of the corporate sector once again. Mr. Sumith, Liyanage. Private sector is generally considered as the engine of the growth. But when you look at what happened in the COVID-19 era, the private sector, as we saw, was taken by surprise on the level of the impact the COVID-19 has made to the society. Now, let us know, what is the line of thinking of the private sector or the corporate sector when they think of food security as well as agriculture development of this country?
Thanks, Dr. Marambe, and first of all, thanks very much for inviting me for this forum, and good evening all. So, frankly, to be spoken, we didn't really expect this much of impact, the devastation and destruction to the society and the economy of the country, and by and large, the global. So, yes, it did impact the private sector. It was no different to the private sector as well. So it really impacted the entire value chain, starting from raw material sourcing to production, the logistics, and even how to reach our consumers and customers. And on top of that, it really devastated the market dynamics. So you could see panic buying and different buying behaviors of consumers and a lot of buyers. So whatever we thought of doing marketing and sale, it got really disrupted. So that was the devastation we faced in the marketplace. So, however, the difference what I see is the private sector had the tenacity, the resilience, and the agility to really bounce back quickly. Yeah. For an example, what in Unilever what we did was first to secure the safety and safety of our employees and also the extended business partners. Then what we did, refocus on what need to be done at the time of the situation, and we really focus on essentials. So the production planning to the distribution, entire thing was focused on the essentials, and we made sure we challenge our status quo and challenge the way of working things which we used to do, and thought differently. Something like online trading, which has significantly improved. So and also different thinking of how to reach out to consumers of doing innovation quickly. For example, the hand sanitizer which we had launched, it took only just 3 weeks Otherwise, it would have taken good 6 months. So that was the agility we have in the system. I think not only in the US, you could see many examples in the marketplace where the agility of private sector was quite visible. So the thought process of the future is, of course, the future we don't know. We still examining the situation. We don't know what would happen in the past. Past, of course, we know, but immediate future we know, but the longer term impact we really don't know. But however, we are quite positive. The private sector is quite positive, and we are thinking forward. We of course know that the new normal won't be as same as what we used to. So the policy making, strategic thinking has to be adapted to this disrupted new marketplace. So we are quite positive, and the things we will be planning to do, of course, has to be dealt with by the government and what the other industry is going to do. Of course, the positive mindset and the attitude that we have in the private sector is going to be the key difference in the marketplace in the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sumith Liyanage, the manager of research, the head of research and development on food and beverages at Unilever, Sri Lanka. Mr. Sumith Liyanage is a graduate of Faculty of Agriculture at University of Peradeniya. As he quite correctly said, we are looking at a new normal. We see the country is gradually going back to normal. But this new normal cannot be the old normal that we had before COVID-19. Otherwise, it cannot be called a new normal. The only issue is who is going to create this new normal. That's us together. And that's why we are here, to make sure there's a collaborative and coherent effort to make sure the country's agriculture as well as economic development will move ahead. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those people who are joining online, once again, let me invite you to post your questions in the Q&A segment of the Zoom software. Please do not post your questions in the chat box. Please go to the Q&A segment and direct the question. Please note or write to whom the question is directed. With that general introductory segment, let me now move back to Dr. Weerakoon as the Director General of Agriculture. Dr. Weerakoon, trained and skilled human resources is imperative, and that's the necessity when you look at the development of a country. And agriculture sector is not an exception. In this regard, it's justifiable to assume that, as I told at the beginning also, graduates in agriculture play an important role in the agriculture development and economic development of the country. How has DOA, as a key state agency in this respect, have planned to meet this important requirement in the future?
Well, Buddhi, now, as I said earlier, now we have to make sure that the country's food availability should be perfect and the consumer should get the real food that is required. And also, we are now talking about the new normal. Now, of course, during the COVID period, we saw a different scenario where people start working from home. We grab that opportunity and we give the people the seeds and the planting material. So as a result of that, whether it's positive or negative, we are having a lot of vegetables, right? Now, that's one part, but you can't go on like that. So we have to go from here to the future, where we have to make sure that these production systems should be sustainable and the production system should be long-lasting, in the sense that enough produce should come from these systems. Now, as I said earlier, if you think of the local need, just to satisfy the needs of other field crop sector, like condiments, legumes, maize, and all these things, except rice. With the present situation of present productivity level, we need roughly about over 5,000 hectares of land, which is not available in this country. So the only scenario what we have to do in the future is to go for increased productivity. Now, increased product, other than that, there's no way of doing it. That's why I said there should be a knowledge-based agriculture in the future. You can't just go and cultivate and get something out of it and get satisfied with it, because our production costs are going up. So unless otherwise you increase your productivity, there will be a big issue. So there, young graduates or the agriculture professionals should come forward and I'm not talking about the farmers. Farmers should be trained, or either they should themselves get into the system as corporate partners and increase the productivity of these systems. Unless otherwise, you can't meet these challenges in the food system. Now, increasing productivity alone is not enough. Now, if you think of the current situation, now the farmer is just producing his primary product and he's just selling. He doesn't do any value addition to the crop. And even as country as a whole, is also not doing any value addition. I'm not saying that we are not doing any value addition, but the value addition to these products are very small. We don't, we didn't have the culture of thinking on that line. So we need to define, produce those value-added products. We have to identify those products, and there again, the agriculture professionals should come into this play. So we have from primary produce to add some value to this thing until it gets to consumer. The value chain has to be identified. So there's a big role in this agriculture professionals in that. The other sector, what I'm saying is other area is this. If you think of Sri Lankan farmer, Sri Lankan agriculture, almost 60 to 70% of the total farming population is smallholder farmers. Now, there should be a way that we have to get out of this. There's no way that we can dispose the farmers out from their fields, but there should be a way to cluster them and to make them profit-making venture in farming systems. So this smallholder farming should be taken as a positive thing, but we should do something to that, and there again the professionals should come in and do this thing. Then there comes the first point where we do try to increase the productivity. Now we do in the Department of Agriculture to a certain extent have increased the productivity in certain crops. So for example, if you think of chili, we do have developed hybrid varieties and technologies which can yield almost around 60 tons per hectare from green chili. But that technology should go to the farm, and we should develop more. I mean, we should innovate more and more technologies of such nature, such as the precision farming should come into the agriculture sector in this country. So when you do that, just the I'm not saying that all farmers cannot do it. What I'm saying is the young graduates, young professionals should get into this business and make sure that the farming in this country is profitable, and the produce which is coming out of the agriculture sector in this country is with high quality, which is acceptable to the consumer with value-added products. So for all that, the agriculture graduates in this country has a bigger role to play.
Thank you very much, Dr. Weerakoon. Thinking of farming as a business has been discussed for a longer period of time, but now we have to put it into practice. The theory is there, the skill is also there. The important part is bringing these two things together. And that is why we want agriculture graduates to think differently, think out of the box as most of us say, and try to put things on the ground to support the agriculture sector and support your career development as well. Mr. Warusavithana, I'm coming back to you once again, looking in terms of OPA. OPA looks at overall development of the country with the support of different organizations that they have become members in OPA. How do OPA see the future agriculture development, especially focusing on the human resources? That's the question.
Yes, actually, agriculture graduates in Sri Lanka, we have a great advantage that our course, most of any faculty that you look at generally, this has a comprehensive coverage of various subject areas. That's an advantage that agriculture graduate have. So keeping that in mind, that is why anywhere, whether it's out of agriculture scope, even they play a very good role, and they can excel very well in the other areas also, because the exposure even within the faculty with the course, the study course, get exposure to the many areas. If you look at the economics, learn accountancy, the biology, engineering, all these in the different scales. The thing that what we, as a professionals, what we have to think about. Now, this academic qualification needs a professional touch. A profession should become a professional. It should need experience, skill development, and some kind of a framework where you should work in your own. You should have this self-discipline, but as you should have the good discipline also when we are working in. So that actually bit of an experience is important. So, but as I mentioned earlier, we have a doubt as to whether all the agriculture graduates are really contributing entire the agriculture graduates fraternities involving in agriculture industry. That's the problem. But what we are trying to do with the more contribution to them. So what OPA sees, as the OPA has the diverse professionals working together. When you are becoming an agriculture graduate with academic qualification, then you become a member of your institute, the Sri Lanka Institute of Agriculture, with certain experience and skills, or you can even become a student member. And then you have the chance of involving in the activities of other professions, this OPA. It creates it's a one platform where we discuss a lot of things. So you can have especially the view of the holistic view experience you get from the other aspects of the business, especially now you are aware in Sri Lanka, as Dr. Prof. Marambe mentioned, the SME sector, small and medium entrepreneurs, of course, they contribute more than 52% of the economy. But it is not sufficient that much, because if you look at other countries, contribution is quite high. And also the sustainability in the SME sector is also very high. So we always, with the resources that we have in OPA, we have a special committee, standing committee called the Career Development and Skill Development Committee. It's a very strong standing committee. They are continuously looking at the needs of the different sectors, the construction sector, whether it's agriculture sector, and look at these needs and giving the help. And we have a pool of resources. If you look at, because if you look at the enterprises, SME sector, if you are entering into the SME sector as an entrepreneur, the financial literacy is a must. Actually, we can see the collapse of many businesses as you see. We are motivated to join the startup business. Then what happened after that? In a while, it collapses because of we don't have competencies, and then the skills in the other side. You are very good in one, maybe technically, but other aspects you are. But OPA creates a place where you can support each other. Like accountants, we have a series of programs to help the young entrepreneurs, SME sectors, the various other sectors, even the career development. They are working for a company, or if you are even going for your own business. So not only that, even the ICT sector, we give that, and OPA is planning and already had some MOUs, memorandum of understanding with many organizations. Like, for example, ICT's Industry Skill Council, we are going to try and give that facility, to all the entrepreneurs or the whomever they need that, because ICT is something that is very common. It's a cutting cost thing, and every industry, whether it's agriculture or any industry, needs the ICT today. So we are in a position to be the computer, digital literacy, and any other support from from various sectors. We have the legal profession, we have the accountancy profession, we have medical, we have architecture, engineering. So all are prepared to give their contribution to the other professions within this this group. So definitely we are looking forward to tie up with many agencies and giving such opportunities to the agriculture graduates or whomever is coming forward. Because you need the holistic approach, you need the competencies in other areas to run a business. Finally, it's a commercial.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saman Warusavithana. Mr. Sumith Liyanage, coming from the private sector conglomerates. To change the subject slightly, we all talk about value addition. So value addition in agriculture, we all say it's extremely important when you look at the development component of a country. Where and how, as you think, and we're looking at your future prospects, where and how do you think agriculture graduates would fit in the value addition?
Yeah, I think there was some slight touch on to the answers which I'm going to give by Weerakoon. But let me take a leaf out of what Dr. Weerakoon already said about food security and how our young graduates can really put their effort and fulfill the requirement of the country. So if you take, food security is the physical availability as well as the affordability of material. So from a physical availability, maybe we are self-sufficient in certain agricultural commodities, but maybe not affordability. So in my opinion, the work has to be done on post-harvest sources is quite significant. Today, if you see countries' post-harvest sources for fruits and vegetables still at 35–40%, whereas global standards, the maximum is 10%. So a lot to be done. So maybe it's new packaging system, new storage system, new seedlings, which I think graduates have learned a lot during 4 to even 3–4 years. I think it's a matter of them challenging the status quo and really challenging what needs to be done. If you can really contribute to this part, imagine you save 10% of what we are losing. Imagine the impact of the prices and imagine the impact on our livelihood. So if you could really add value to this sector, this will be really significant to our country. And the second point is, I think, again, what Mr. Warusavithana touched upon. I think Sri Lanka, we need to move away from commodity marketing. Yeah? For centuries, we've been doing sending good quality raw materials to abroad, but for a certain time we were getting good prices, and today it's no more because the volume game what we are doing, I think we have lost that game because our own problems of probably productivity, etc. But now I think we have to move away from that. What I am proposing to our young graduates is start doing brand marketing. Please enter into food processing. Food processing is not artificial. Food processing is food preservation. So if you preserve so much of fruits and vegetables in this country, there is a self-sufficiency with longer time. So get into agri-entrepreneurships. You can be entrepreneurs and get into the system and turn it around. So make it away from selling commodities and really get into brand marketing. So you can put your effort and see how things can be really moved forward. I mean, you just compare what India is doing right now and many other Southeast Asian countries, they are really moving away from selling commodities, rather they bring in more income to the country by selling brands.
Thank you very much. A very good message, Mr. Sumith Liyanage. Well, you cannot have a break because there's a question from the audience coming to you. It's been directed to you. The question is direct, so it's a short but precise answer. The question is, have you initiated any linkages with the smallholders to source raw materials during the post-COVID-19 era? If so, what are they?
Yeah. So this is something I think we were challenged. So I was telling the audience that we were challenged in entire department of the value chain. So sourcing raw material was really an issue because most of the countries with the globalization, most of the commodity selling was concentrated in China and India. So those borders were closed. So what needs to be done? So it's a matter of us reaching out to local companies. Something like a very simple example like turmeric. Yeah, so there was a turmeric restriction of importation, as you know. Even today, most of turmeric is imported. So we went out to ministries, went out to farmers, and we gave out maybe additional price increases also. And we really went into a grassroots level farm understand to see how much turmeric is available, but still it is not enough. So you guys have a lot of work to do. So yes, likewise we have get into a lot of other basic raw materials like salt. The other example is salt. Salt. Some specific grades of salt we were importing, but now we are glad to say we are working with local parties to source those raw materials. So likewise, we have done many things, not only in the food sector, but in other soaps and the rest of the portfolio. So we are really getting good local sources.
Thank you very much. That's a precise answer. And if anyone is interested in, I'm sure Mr. Sumith will encourage them to contact you as well, depending on your need. Definitely, that you can be a supplier. And I sincerely hope, just because turmeric has been spoken of, not everybody will now start go and cultivate turmeric. And I'm going to help the industry as well.
Yeah.
Dr. Weerakoon, coming back to you once again, had a longer break, isn't it? Well, myths and fancies of people have affected in tackling issues, especially related to agriculture in the past. We have seen people are coming up with a lot of ideas with no scientific proof, but still bringing those things very strongly to the audiences, to the general public, and to the government. What is your view on the importance of science-based evidence in decision-making in the agriculture sector? Because I think it will really help the young, the youth, the young agriculture graduates who are listening and visiting this webinar.
Yeah, when you think of these myths and fancies, I'm sure that the young graduates, young agriculturists, young professionals, they don't go after myths. They always back their ideas based on scientific merit. So science-based decision making is a must for the future. Now, if you go into detail, of course, there are certain issues, of course, people do have myths, but we are not going to either prove it or disprove it, because we are in our world, I don't think we can scientifically think of that. Let them have that in their own way. But when it comes to the farming or agriculture as a business, a science-based decision making is a must. Otherwise, we all will get failed in the future. Because if you think of the complexity of agriculture today, as the chairman of the Alumni Association very correctly said, the climate change is having a big impact on agriculture. The biotic and abiotic stresses are more than ever. We cannot grow crops without getting subject to these biotic and abiotic stresses. Water is becoming a very scarce resource. And those are the things that affect the farmer the most. But if you go by the myths and all that, then of course we will not be able to achieve it. We have to make sure that the science-based system should handle these issues. But on the other hand, now say for example, our traditional knowledge is there. We have to make use of the traditional knowledge to the maximum, plus infuse the new knowledge into the system. If you think of, like, say for example, we want to make this country an organic country, which is of course, to my personal knowledge, we should not be that way. We have to think of science in terms of agriculture, because now, say for example, whether you put organic matter, you put whatever the thing the plant is absorbing, the nutrients. So we either we put high grade chemical fertilizer or the organic matter, good quality organic matter, the result is the same. But if you put low quality chemicals or even low quality organic matter, the result will be worse. So we have to think in science-based systems rather than what you call indulging onto these myths and fancies.
Thank you very much, Dr. Weerakoon. Well, Warusavithana, representing large number of professional agencies in this country, I'm posing the same question to you. Let's forget about the first part of it, myth and fancies, but the real need and importance of science-based evidence. Science-based decision making. Over to you.
Thank you. Actually, I do agree with Dr. Weerakoon, and it is the same thing because initially I mentioned OPA is a place where we give the priority to the critical thinking, it's basically the scientific thinking. So it's science-based, evidence-based, decision making is our key thing. So in that, actually, but at the same time, you can, as he said, the perceptions of people and depending on the people who lobby them, if they are in a strong position. For an example, if you are talking about a film star or someone who's accepted in the society, says something and is more likely that society accept them. So it is left to the professionals to lobby the right thing. So we should be the ambassadors. Actually, the people people who have the reputation, whether they are a film star or in person, maybe cricketer, or some other group of professionals who has the reputation and acceptance. They should be the ambassadors of this right thinking. But unfortunately, depending on certain, maybe there are political bias or various other issues, certain myths and myths, of course, is established and promoted in especially in agriculture. So it actually adversely affects our development. So OP here has a challenge, and we've been doing it. And actually, what we are trying to do is, there may be reasons, as Dr. Weerakoon mentioned. Sometimes the traditional knowledge. If the traditional knowledge actually has great thing that we are not aware, but that can be also proven in the science. So we should come forward, get together. All these groups should get together and see what what the truth is. So OPA creates a common platform that actually promotes the multidisciplinary research. And there are mandated institutes who are actually entrusted with these research protocols. Right? So I believe we have been promoting the scientific thinking, critical thinking, and science-based, evidence-based thinking, and we are there. The group, OPA is there. The group is professionals to tackle these problems, and we are trying to continuously, make these myths actually what is the truth behind that, and various, tell the truth to the society. So OPA is in the process of doing it. There are many challenges, but still, because of the wrong perceptions, the perceptions are conditioned actually. Because of that, and also the bargaining power of certain groups of people is very difficult to move forward. But still, we have not given up efforts to tell the truth of this. So it is left to group of professionals in diverse areas to focus on these things and for the betterment, for the development of the agriculture. Go forward and without giving up and tell the truth to the society. So
thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Samaraweera. So the take-home message to all young graduates over there listening to us, watching this and taking part in this webinar is that make sure there is evidence-based decision making. Okay, that's an important point to take forward. And Mr. Sumith, maybe you can rest a bit because I have a question to Mr. Warusavithana from the audience right now. It's slightly different from the question that I asked, but the question is direct once again. Is there any special effort taken by OPA as an apex body to accommodate the needs of the agriculture sector? What do you, Mr. Samaraweera?
Yeah, actually, the special effort, as I said now, OPA operates through the standing committees and the decision-making bodies, the executive council. Executive council is quite a big executive council because we have 124 members because as we represent 51 member associations. Now, we have recently promoted sector-based standing committees where we specifically focus on the sectors like agriculture, environment, associated sectors like land, agriculture, environment, and human settlement. So that sector-based committee comprises not only the agricultural experts, but not only the environmental experts, but all those the other the professionals, lawyers, engineers, doctors. So that gives us a chance to look at a different perspective. As I said, this more critical thinking process is going on, and the proposals are properly analyzed and giving. As you said, this is also evidence-based decision making. So we have taken it forward, and the last 2 years we have been promoting this, and as a result of that, actually, you can understand we recently had our annual conference on 27th and 28th in this month. We gave actually opportunity to the Agriculture Institute, Dr. Dhanapala from great researcher, and he actually made a presentation. It was quite appreciated by the audience, and about the mix and fancies. Also, actually, with this presentation, people, audience, got to know a lot of information, got to know about the reality what. Because there are some myths that agriculture sector that we are using genetically modified material in the paddy sector, and the great contribution that scientists done to this country to enhance the productivity of the paddy production and things like that also revealed. So it's a quite good thing. Why it happened, of course, due to the special sector-based committee that we have formed, that is agriculture, and so we are in the process of doing it. We will intensify it in the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samaraweera. Mr. Sumith, Liyanage, I'm going to change the gear once again. If you want to add to this question, earlier question, you can of course do that later. But my question this time is, food industry is a progressing industry. I think no argument at all in that. What are the initiatives the young graduates should take to support the development of the food industry while making sure there is economic gains for them as well? The career development has to be there. So while keeping that in mind, what are the investments or what are the initiatives young graduates should take to support the food industry?
Yeah. So first to start, so do not worry on the future. It's going to be really booming. So sectors would be different, but definitely it's going to be really booming in near future because we are going to stop it. So don't worry. So, but you to be ready for that industry, I think there are several things we should be doing. First one is, for me, the first one is, I think nobody told me this one when I was really looking to the industry, but now I realize this is what the graduates should do. I think there is a gap between the graduates and the industrialists. What we are lacking is the experience. Yeah. So there should be a way you really analyze the skill gap and the knowledge gap between you and the industrial world. So maybe the help of the faculty here, maybe organization like OPA, you should really use, and you should see what is your knowledge and skill gap, and then really invest. I would say first 2 to 3 years. First 2 to 3 years, don't expect much on your salaries and things. You really put your effort to invest behind your career. Identify what's your gaps. Maybe it's communication. Maybe the problem solving ability. Maybe the analytical skill, or maybe working with teams. So identify that gap and then really see what courses or what mentorship you want to take in, and see and really invest that time for first 2 to 3 years, and then you are really up in the game to see a longer career ahead. So that's what my first advice is. Second one is I will keep telling this. Focus on agri-entrepreneurship. Yeah, we've been talking about that. I would expect at least 10 to 15% of you really entering into business. So that business acumen you have to learn, as Mr. Warusavithana said. But there is ample opportunity there in the marketplace, in the food industry, if you are to become entrepreneurs. Because the market is going to be really niche marketing in the future. Very much personalized marketing, personalized need. So niche marketing going to be really big in the future. So maybe companies like Unilever and the rest of maybe not fast enough to reach that niche markets, where entrepreneurs have that agility to move fast and impact in the marketplace quickly. So my second advice is important, the most important, think about becoming entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sumith Liyanage. Very good piece of advice for young entrepreneurs who are listening to us and attend this webinar as well. Dr. Weerakoon, I'm turning back to you now. Since the young agripreneurs or entrepreneurs in agriculture been spoken of a little while ago, technology plays an important role in this aspect. We all say when the technology is good, when the modern and novel technology is there, it attracts you. May not be always correct depending on the situation. But looking at the Department of Agriculture, you also spoke a few things about this a little while ago. What new technologies that are available with you at DOA to support young entrepreneurs, especially the agriculture leaders?
Yeah, Buddhi, now I'm happy that now the young agriculturists, young agriculture graduates, young professionals, they are always seeking new technologies to move forward. Now, in that context, of course, agriculture, I must say that they can get into the system by way of getting into research or getting into extension, or even within the Department of Agriculture, or even as you said, they can be self-employed agriculture entrepreneurs. So there are so much of opportunities for them to come to this agriculture business. We must take agriculture as a business in this system. We should not think of the old traditional agriculture and request from the young people to come into agriculture and invest on that. That will not happen. So in that context, of course, I will say something. Of course, we have discussed that. One thing is, as he said very correctly, the branding. Now, when if you think of our biggest industry, the rice industry, now we do have branding to the level of Samba, Nadu, and the only one brand that is available is Keerthi. Right? You know how many varieties are mixed up in the Nadu sector. How many varieties in the existing? Why can't we brand it and make some kind of special attitude? I mean, special what you call product, so that should be done by the young entrepreneurs. They should collect it rather than allowing the normal general public to collect and dump it together. Why can't they do it? They can get into mechanization. Mechanization is big business in this country. Now we have a huge problem of labor. If somebody can do contract farming using machines, the government is willing to do that, support him. So that kind of thing that can be, these young graduates can come in. The technology dissemination again, IT is a big tool in agriculture today. So all these things are there. Plus, as I told you, there are 642 vacancies in the agriculture sector, for agriculture graduates in the Department of Agriculture. If they are skillful enough, they can come into the department and they can get involved in these innovations. And that is the way that they can get in. So there are ample opportunities for them to use these technologies and to thrive in the future.
Thank you very much. You touched a very sensitive area also, saying that about 642 vacancies are available in the Department of Agriculture by agriculture graduates. I'm not going to put you in trouble by asking questions on those lines at this stage, but there's a question for you from the audience, Dr. Weerakoon. Now, the question is related to land productivity. We have been always talking about low land productivity in Sri Lanka, but this question focuses on the seed industry actually. Now, while keeping that in mind, the question is, do you have any plans to liberalize seed market to boost productivity?
When we ask the question of liberalizing, to what extent is the issue, right? Of course, within the country, if somebody is trying to develop seeds, of course, right now, the Department of Agriculture and few entrepreneurs are engaged in developing seeds in the country. We always support them. Any new variety coming in, the Department of Agriculture supports them. There's another sector which brings seeds from other countries of the world, and they want to market it here. There, again, we do allow them, provided that they follow all these quarantine procedures. And right now, of course, we have relaxed to the maximum that any entrepreneur who has land, who has his own farm, who has his own research institute, what you call research farm, he can bring those varieties to the country. Again, I quote, provided with all these quarantine procedures, follow the quarantine procedures, he can bring them and do the pre-testing within his place. And then once it is tested and once it is proven, if he or she thinks that this particular variety, I am going to grow it in my own farm, he will straight away allow them to bring any quantity of seeds and grow it either for exports or domestic consumption. But the moment that he thinks that we are going to market this product, so then the Department of Agriculture comes into picture. There we are responsible for the consumer, that is the seed consumer in the sense of farm. So there we do test those varieties under different ecological regions, where whether this particular variety that we are going to bring into the country or that they have developed in this country are suitable for farming in this country. Yield, quality, and all kinds of aspects will be tested. If that is fulfilling within the system, within those limits, then of course we will allow them to bring those seeds and market it here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Weerakoon. I think the message is very clear. There are certain level of liberalization that is being done within the framework of rules and regulations in this country. But changing the rules and regulations is another dimension. I'm sure people have to work towards that. Mr. Saman Warusavithana, I would like to come back to you now. You actually spoke of ICT component a little while ago. Now, ICT has started playing a strong role even in the past, but with the COVID-19 scenario, you find a lot of people have got interested in ICT in agriculture. But to me, it's looked like a bit unfortunate that most of the people, when you talk of ICT in agriculture nowadays, they focus on mobile apps, for example. In that we have developed an app, we have developed this and that, and we are now going to support the agriculture sector. Good initiatives. Nothing wrong in that. But can you educate, advise the young agriculture graduates actually what is in store for them in terms of ICT for agriculture development in this country?
Yeah. Yes, actually we have been promoting ICT, not only the agriculture, but with all the other sectors. So if you look at, we have tied up with ICT Industries Skill Council, and what I see as professionals, actually there is a huge gap between the coordination. Actually, it's a serious problem, the coordination. Even look at the interministerial coordination. If you look at there are many ICT applications apps are developed here and there in ad hoc manner, and there's no place where if someone wants to have real use this thing, there's no proper central coordination. So that's a very serious thing. So I believe we have to address this very seriously. Even within the Ministry of Agriculture, so the two departments may have a communication gap. So we don't know people in the sector, whether they are a graduate or the entrepreneur or the consumer or a producer. We don't know where to go, what to do, and the things are available, but the central coordination is a must. I think we have to address this very seriously. and the government has the challenge and has the responsibility of doing. I can remember in the 2016, we have agriculture strategy. Formulated and the Department of Agriculture accepted that proposal. And unfortunately, now we were planning to move into to establish a steering committee, or rather, I would not say it's a regulator, but steering committee. But I know that a very nice, the center was also developed under the same project, the communication center, the Department of Agriculture, but unfortunately, it did not go beyond that. Now we have a serious problem of coordination, whether it is a consumer, agriculture produce consumer, a supplier, producer, or this another service provider, consultant, whomever in the business or whatever, and we have serious problem. We have the infrastructure, but the coordination is an issue. So we have to centralize this coordination. That has to be very seriously addressed. It should be combined with supply chain and trade and agriculture production, input selling, and everything. You know, all the aspects. The ICT is a common thing. It is must. So we have to emphasize that. We have been promoting now. For example, I will do now. We have tied up. OFI has tied up with the ICT Industry Council. You see the skill gaps of various industries, construction industry, agriculture, whatever. Now there is under the Ministry of Labour and Foreign Relations. Actually, they have a SSDP project, skill sector development project, where we have funds. Where if in a private organization, if you feel that the ICT sector, if you want train their staff, say takes 100,000 rupees to train this ICT in the ICT in this staff training, government is prepared to, under this project, about 50% can be reimbursed. But this is not people are not aware of these, because there's a huge gap in the communication gap. Even within the ministry, they are not aware that this facility is available. So I believe we have to address very seriously. Even the agriculture sector, ICT, because of the floods and other areas why people are not going to this agriculture, what youngsters are not coming to this because of this. So we have to have a centralized system challenges with the ministry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warusavithana. It's interesting. The important part is not being aware is not an excuse. I'm talking to young graduates here. Scientific inquiry, what is considered as one of the most important aspects of life, to make sure you go behind opportunities, look for opportunities, grab them, and just do not let them go begging. I think that's the message that's going to come your way. While saying so, Mr. Warusavithana, there's a question for you once again. Now, the question, of course, you said something about this earlier also, but let me pose the question to you. Has OPA initiated any activities to help graduates who are interested in getting into self-employment?
Certainly. And it was actually accelerated rather focused very seriously in with the Covid-19, and we have started a group of professionals under the Economic Development Standing Committee. That we have opened up a helpline and also email address dedicated for the enterprises, actually, especially the SME sector problems that they encounter right now. We are not giving the financial assistance, but we give the entire assistance in terms of advisory level. For example, if a financial management issue is there about the or any other, even the technical matter, if the legal matters, if the labor or whatever the things that the entrepreneurs or the SME sectors come across, they can contact directly. We have already taken that initiative. There is a dedicated line, and you can get through our website, and you can post a question. And volunteers are there, very high caliber professionals in various sectors, lawyers, doctors, engineers, accountants, They are representing many institutes, professional institutes, so they are prepared to give that advisors free of charge to these enterprises, entrepreneurs, free of charge. So it is already there. We have taken the decision. We are going to have the dedicated telephone line, phone number line also, time to come. So we have already taken that initiative.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warusavithana. I think good news for everyone who is in the audience. Well, Mr. Sumith Liyanage, I had a question in my mind to ask. Interestingly, from the audience, there was a similar question. And the question was for any panelist, but I thought you were the best person to answer. So let me combine these two questions together, then go for it. Well, as private sector, I'm pretty sure you're not doing charity. You're doing business, but responsible business. In that case, you must be having a lot of plans for future. Now, the idea is that a lot of people will think outside the box, but work within the box. It's not the way. You think outside the box and work outside the box as well. But still, of course, you don't break rules and regulations, right? That's the important part. So in your future plans, are there any special position or provision for agriculture graduates to be on board? That's my question. But let me tell you what the audience asked. The audience asked similar questions. Now, the question is, what sort of support is there in the store for young entrepreneurs to enter into the sector, especially during post-COVID era? Part, of course, Mr. Samaraweera explained something now.
So, I'll explain it in probably in 3 sections. First one on Unilever's the approaching to food industry. Like any other company, I think, as I said before, be it for export market or be it for local market, there will be enormous expansion in food industry. So, like any other company, we are looking for those opportunities which will have a good opportunities. Definitely, we will invest there, and that will really expand the horizon of opportunities for graduates. So, I think second question, whether the section whether it opens for agriculture graduates, I thought you should be asking that question first of all, because you have been in the discussion. So take me as an example. So I've been with the company for the last 17 years, and I was really fortunate enough to work in different countries, like 5 years in India and 3 more years in Thailand, and also I have directly worked with 19 countries globally. So Unilever per se is not local. So there are opportunities as we are operating in 190 countries. So it's like a version of opportunities if we are to join Unilever, and don't focus only local, but there are opportunities in other markets as well. So it's an open invite for you all. I mean, we don't have any discrimination for local graduates, or we don't discriminate whether it's agriculture or any other. So you could join us in different aspects of the opportunities. Maybe R&D, maybe quality assurance, maybe production, maybe marketing and sales. I could quote some examples who had been with us and still with us. Factory managers, here I'm in R&D and human resource managers, and even in marketing. We had marketing managers in Unilever who had really graduated from University of Peradeniya Faculty of Agriculture. So I think it's open. It's a matter of you, as I said before, what is your focus, what is your purpose in your life, and how do you want to really play your career in the market. So third one, if you could just remind me the question.
The question is on the same line. I mean, what opportunities are available, and for example, what are the openings in the sector?
Okay.
For example.
Okay. So openings would be definitely there for, as I said, we are quite open for open innovations, open industrial development. So if you have an idea which can be commercialized, we are very open to work together. Of course, with a proper agreement in place, and you get the benefit out of the deal. So we are open for that. Those kind of opportunities are there. We are open to work with universities. We are open to work with individuals who send good ideas in, which can be commercialized, of course. And you can think many areas of food industry, be it for raw material development, be it for processing. If you are to invest on processing capacities, we are really want to look into those capacities, because it is not in-house manufacturing always. Always it brings in other capacity related efficiencies when you go into third-party equipment as well. So any other, even the distribution system, if you are to invest into distribution and logistics, we are quite open. So you think about in entire value chain, and you really want to invest behind a particular section of that value chain, and we are quite open to partnership with you.
Thank you very much. I think good message and good invitation as well.
Yeah.
I think for people who want to grab an opportunity, there's a huge opportunity in this segment. Well, Dr. Weerakoon, before I go for next question in my pipeline, there's a question from you, question to you from the audience. Well, the question is from Mr. Cyril Vikramaratne. The question is, a little while ago you mentioned about rice plants. Now, Mr. Cyril Vikramaratne is asking that, are you aware that some traders sell rice varieties, even imported ones, using the brand name Keerthi?
Difficult question to answer, but the answer is yes.
You are aware?
Yes, I'm aware of it. It is not for, mostly not for Keerthi, but for basmati. They bring long grain rice and they try to cheat the consumer as basmati, which is very wrong. And now the government has put a complete stop on that, and we may not get it in the future. When it comes to Keerthi, the local consumer knows what the taste and the quality of Keerthi. So even if you brand, just put a name and sell it, the consumer may buy it at first, but he will not continue to do so. So that type of cheating will not last long. I request all these, we are doing this for the young professionals. Don't do that. You have to do that, what you call genuine business in this agriculture sector, not in agriculture, everywhere. So in that sense, there are people who do try to make quick money with short circuits, but we should not advocate that. That will not last long.
Thank you very much. Now I can go back to my question. Earlier, I'm going back to what you said a little while ago about the large number of vacancies that you have. I told I'm not going to put you in trouble by asking questions, but I get a lot of SMSs asking me to go on that and dig deep, which I'm not going to do so, but let me put forward a question like this. Now, you are the leading government entity in agriculture. I mean, no argument at all, and you have played your role over the years, and you have helped the development of the agriculture sector very significantly. Now, we are focusing on agriculture graduates here in terms of human resources. What are your future plans? I know there is a different setting in the government setup in order to get the services of any new group, but actually what are your future plans to get these human resources or get the maximum benefit of these human resources that have been developed using public money?
Yeah, well, Buddhi, now the Department of Agriculture, as you very correctly said, has a diverse role to play, diverse opportunities. There are researchers, there are extensionists, there are seed producing people, there are education and people who are teaching in agriculture schools, and then also there are people who work on certification courses. So I mean ICT and all kinds of things. Now they have, right from the beginning, they get themselves trained into these disciplines. So what we are trying to do is to keep them as they are, right from the beginning to the end. Then only they can, of course, they can merge together and do something new. But basically, to get into this system and then go up to the ladder. In that sense, of course, we are trying our level best to keep people in the same line of thinking. so that the outcome will be much greater than if they get into the administration or if they all try to get into the other business. Then of course the result is very much low. So say for example, if a graduate get trained in get a master's or PhD in breeding, and after some time he gets into what you call administration, what will happen is his whole thinking will go waste. So what we want is, what we are trying to do is to keep them as the breeders. But you can't just keep them, because unless you give them the same facilities that an administrator is enjoying, right? So we have to give them the same recognition, same facilities, same everything, or even more than what the others are enjoying, and keep them in the same field of thinking, and then that will make his contribution to this country better.
Thank you very much. We see a focus in what you say right now. Mr. Warusavithana, at the very beginning, I mean, we all recognize that OPA plays a very crucial role in terms of providing advice to the government of Sri Lanka on different aspects. Well, what process that you think as the OPA that the government of Sri Lanka should follow to make the maximum contribution out of agriculture graduates into agriculture development or to overall development?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, now we see that tendency because the agriculture graduates are actually they are exposed in the course. They have the different, wider exposure. So therefore, I think finding a job, employment in India other than agriculture is not a big problem. So it's not a big challenge, I believe. The financial sector, as I mentioned earlier also, there are many opportunities. But what our focus is actually get these graduates trained in that discipline to give them maximum contribution to the sector. So there should be incentives. I believe now, even this OPAV, that the SME sector, as I mentioned before, should grow up further in the agriculture sector. Whether it's input marketing, produce marketing, production, storage, transportation, and also we believe and they should be enriched with the competencies like ICT, the interpersonal relationship, because it's finally is a business. Business needs a lot of other competencies in order to work, especially as a startups, they may fail, and the innovations. I started my career also. Initially, I wanted actually join academia, but then research. I joined CISIR, and then the ITI. Finally, I thought of moving to a private sector, because private sector it's a motivating factor. They give incentives. So at that time, as a young graduate, I thought that having a car and the other financial benefits, it's really motivated me to move into that. And then what has happened with that experience, thought of moving into the entrepreneurship. So took that challenge with the experience that gained at that time. So I was successful, and innovations and couple innovations have also been made, and I managed to get many patents also in the area related to agriculture, not directly agriculture, but there are many of it. What I'm going to say is that agriculture has many opportunities in the related area and also within the agriculture. So what we believe the government should give the support. Maybe not able to directly give the incentives. Private sector, yes, they will motivate them to come in with more incentives. But I believe the startups should be promoted, and it is the week of the OPA also, especially the SME sector, in the most, maximum incentives to the and promotion to the SME sector to motivate the graduates to move into the entrepreneurship of the SME sector.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warusavithana. There's another question for you. This time, I will read the question as it is. This is what it says. Floriculture and horticulture sectors played a major role in the export market in Sri Lanka. You all know that. With COVID-19, it has been stopped for a while. So what are the new future plans to re-enter to the export market? I mean, I'm sure the person talking about the big stuff, the leap jump forward. What are the plans to enter the market again?
Actually, now I believe, as you said, these disasters become the opportunities. So you have to think out of box and come up with your proposals. That is that flow, because if the export market is inhibited at this time, blocked at this time, we must find the opportunities. But I'm very sure that now recently we visited the animal production enterprise. They had serious problem with the COVID-19. They were slightly demotivated, but immediately we understood that there was huge potential in the sector. Middle Eastern countries, huge opening, and suddenly their business moved up for 10 folds. So this is a serious thing. I think we must also look at the positively at these disasters. So it is the innovative thinking, and out of that thinking and practicing. So unless you practice something, looking for opportunities, talking and waiting will not. So we have to have a look at the opportunities everywhere, dream about them, and try to practice. So I believe I may not be able to give a direct answer to the floriculture sector, but the potential that the tourism sector in Sri Lanka, the potential that it will have is enormous. So I believe so we can make also some opportunities within the country itself. I think if you are having problems in export markets, but I'm not an expert to tell that, especially in the floriculture sector. But I quoted some examples in the other sectors. There are opportunities found in the different sectors, not the traditional sector. So you have to think differently. That is the key, and try to start it up. Look at the holistic picture and try to start up. Unless you start it, you won't be able to explore it and develop it.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the audience will understand that we are speaking the same language. In other words, we all want everybody to focus your life. The career pathway is there. It's a matter of getting into it, and the correct start, selecting the correct path is the most important one. Coming to Mr. Sumith Liyanage, I thought of asking you a little different question this time. We have a younger audience in front of us, I'm sure, graduates who have just got through and maybe got recently through from different universities in the country, especially agriculture graduates. Now, what is the lead step these graduates should take, considering the post-COVID era, in order to make sure they can put their career path in the correct course? What is the lead step?
See, I was maybe in a previous answer, I was giving some aspect to this, similar aspect to this Marambe asked. So for me, post-COVID, it is about learning yourself and thinking about your life purpose. Because now the environment has given you that opportunity to think about your own career and what is purpose of your life. So think about it quite hard and see what do you want to do. Think about becoming businessman. Think about becoming like technocrats. I would use that word technocrats rather than being technologists. Yeah. So to become technocrats, you need to have that business acumen, that entrepreneurial mindset, need not be entrepreneurs per se, but even to work in an organization, you need to have that entrepreneurial mindset, the owner's mindset, which will enhance the productivity, cost cutting, marketing aspect, and everything about doing business. And also, it will help you to inculcate the organization culture, because I think most of you are either in Z generation or just touching Z generation. So think about the organizations which you are going to enter. There are people like us and even older than us. They are into different generations. So the organization's cultures might not be what you think. So think about what that organization culture is. Your attitude towards work culture, and your agility, it's going to be huge. So I think this time it's God given, the environment is given to you. I think this is the time you speak to your mentors, speak to your teachers, understand what you really want to do, what you want to really invest behind you for next long career you have, maybe until 70 years or so. So this is the time you should think about yourself. Ask your parents, ask your colleagues, what is I'm going to do, what is my purpose in life, what is I'm trying to do, enjoy while my company or organization also getting benefit. If you can really make that real fit, there you are. You will do wonders. So just invest this time for yourself.
Thank you very much. Wonderful piece of advice. Let me come back with the same question to Dr. Weerakoon, the Director General of Agriculture. As young graduates in agriculture, what is the lead step forward that they should take, which will definitely make it a leap jump forward in their life?
Well, it's again a difficult question to answer because both them have said a lot of things. Now, the first and foremost thing what I want to say is you have to sacrifice your probably the happiness or whatever it is for the initial stage until you get set this system. Now, right now, what is happening is most of these young graduates, they are thinking of government jobs. They think that the government job is something they can easily move around. They can just get the promotions and get a visiting. That will not be there in the future. I'm pretty sure I have to say that. You have to take up the challenges with it, even though it's a government job, even a private sector job. You must be ready to take up the challenge. Otherwise, of course, whether you are an innovator or a technocrat or an entrepreneur which is going to do your own business, unless otherwise you are ready to take up the challenge, you will not be able to succeed in the future. Now, having said that, now when it comes to the Department of Agriculture, I must say that the same Department of Agriculture will not be there in the future. Don't think that if you get into the Department of Agriculture, you can relax, you can enjoy all that. You must be ready to go to the real field. You must be ready to go to the face the real situation in this country. Work with the farmers, work with the other senior innovators and all that. So then only you can be successful in the future. So all what I am to say is, don't take the easy path, take the hard path. Put your whole effort to make sure that the whatever the job that you are getting, you're going to deliver the goods, so that at the end of the day you'll be happy and you'll be successful.
Thank you very much. Another useful piece of advice for young agriculture graduates. Mr. Warusavithana, once again, when you look at your experiences, the people that you mingle with, what will be your advice in such a scenario?
Yeah, sometimes the agriculture graduate, young graduate may find a job in a place where he's not passionate to do that. So you are forced to take that job. And my advice is you have to get a license towards that, get a maximum experience from that. For example, I can remember when I went abroad for a while, I had to work in stores in England. where I did a very small job. But at that time, I started learning everything, even at the driving the truck and loading and unloading stores and various things. These competencies, the skills. It was actually those skills was very helpful later on for my business when I became an entrepreneur. So I believe we have to look at very positively. And also your attitude matters a lot. It is not as Sumith mentioned, when you lose a job, sometimes a lot of people lose jobs in their organizations. Not due to the skill that they produce, but the attitudes and how they look at it, and your interpersonal relationship, your soft skills. You have to have a very great interpersonal skills, very nice. Develop your language skills and various things, and overall, it's your attitude. So have a good attitude towards it. Whenever possible, if you want to move, because I also, to take my examples, I also work for 3 multinational companies. The right time for the greener pasture. And at the time, I was supposed to take up my own risk and move into my own enterprise. Then I thought of I may not move forward unless I have any innovative thinking. So a lot of innovations failed many times, a lot of failures, and I managed to get a couple of patents also. And now this is commercially giving results. So I think we have to look at it positive. It is your attitude that matters, and try and get experience where you are. Don't get demotivated, and you will be able to successfully if you have the right attitude.
Thank you very much. I think due to the time constraint, this is going to be the last round of questions to ask. Well, I know 3 of you and everyone, majority of them in the audience are very positive about the future. But let me ask a negative question. And we'll start asking that negative question from Mr. Sumith Liyanage. Will the post-pandemic era will be gloomy in terms of economic development?
Yeah. So let me be a little philosophical on this. Yeah. So to be frank with you and all, I think short to medium term, probably it will impact us quite heavily to the extent which we have not really experienced in the past. But saying that, am I positive? Am I positive someone innovate this miraculous vaccine and get this going? Yes, definitely I'm positive. Because for me, I think this is a temporary situation where humankind is being challenged. So this will go away. So probably what we need to think today is the medium to long term. The plan is obviously this new normal going to be different. What is that difference? As Marambe said, it is us to define it. So our behaviors would change, consumer behaviors would change, market dynamics would change. So you need to adapt to that change. Otherwise, there is no survival. So there is a business saying that saying, be disruptive before you get disrupted. So this is my piece of information.
Thank you very much. Hope you got the message. Dr. Weerakoon, over to you. Difficult question in terms of state sector, right?
Yeah, but I'm in the other side of this thing. I think the agriculture sector boomed up with this. Because what I'm saying is, as he said very correctly, the apparel sector, at the beginning I said, apparel sector was down, tourism was down, winter was coming out, this thing. And then there was a special this thing because we had to stay at home. So we grabbed that opportunity, and of course, with that, everybody started farming within their household. So that has boomed the agriculture sector, especially the production sector. So that has paved a positive impact on that. And that, of course, is there as a short term. What is our duty now is to make sure that the jump start that we have taken to make sure that that will go on. That there only the industry should come into picture. The production sector, of course, is doing well right now, no issue at all. But the food industry, I think the private sector should grab that opportunity and get into this food industry business, because the imports are restricted right now. So there are a lot of opportunities for food industry, and I know for sure that many people are trying to grab that opportunity and produce, add value to their product. So as in short, what I'm saying is in terms of agriculture, the post-COVID is going to be better than we had earlier.
Thank you very much. Positive thinking. Of course, everyone is thinking positive because there are many opportunities that come your way in this condition. Well, Mr. Warusavithana, this is the last chance.
I have also very optimistic thinking, but we must understand that it is not actually in the next couple of months, of course, now we are in the honeymoon. We will have the real challenge in next week. So our trade deficit is very high, and we have serious challenges with the foreign earnings. And I believe we have the responsible consumption. That's a basic message I have to give us. But let us look at the past. Have we been fair to our farmer producer, being an agriculturist or a responsible citizen of this country? So this COVID-19 gives a message that you have to be very responsible. You are environmentally responsible, because we have been advocating, any professionals, I believe, in this country, in this world, we advocate the sustainable development. So I also very positive. I think we have a challenge in the next couple of months, but the model that we feel is not highly intensified model that we are bounced back and come to the same position. But we have to think about, we don't want to even going back to the extreme end, the other end. So we have to have somewhere in between. So I'm very confident. We are a nation with a resilience. If you look at Easter attack, first attack, and if you look at the tsunami aftermath, if the tsunami, of course, a lot of West was talking about Sri Lanka, that how it will take long period of time for the recovery, but would be a very resilient nation. I believe we can, because we are very positive, we should be very optimistic in thinking. I believe we can come back to this question very quickly. I look at it very positive.
Thank you very much. I think we went through a very successful and very productive session. All in all, the message that I have to all the people in front of us in the audience, especially the young agriculture graduates, is that you create the future. Unless you take initiatives, things will not go your own way. So it's important that you set the pace and you take the initiative, you come up with the technology and create your own career opportunity within the circumstances that are there. The message from all the panelists is that be positive. There's enough opportunities. All the challenges can easily be converted into opportunities. And that is the expectation of Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya as well. That's why we decided to have this a different setting of a webinar and getting a subject that was not key and not have taken key prominence in most of the discussions that we have had in the past is the role of our graduates, agriculture graduates of university system of Sri Lanka, a precious resource that we have to use very judiciously and effectively in the future. With that little summing up, let me now invite the Secretary to the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, Dr. Mrs. Himali Samaraweera, to propose the vote of thanks. But please don't go away. We have a special event after this vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Most valued invited panelists, Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all of you. On behalf of the Alumni Association of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this webinar such a resounding success. First of all, I would like to propose our heart vote of thanks to our three panelists. Dr. W.M.W. Weerakoon, Director General, Department of Agriculture, Mr. Warusavithana, the President of Organization of Professional Association, and Mr. Sumith Liyanage, Head Research and Development, Food and Beverage, Unilever, Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for your valuable presence and took out valuable time of your busy schedule. And for your interesting and thought-provoking addresses on uplifting the agriculture and food sector of the country in post-COVID-19 era. We are very much grateful to Professor Marambe, the moderator of today's webinar. Thank you very much, sir, for your great commitments in making this event such a success, hosting this event and making it a memorable event. Also, I take this opportunity to thank Professor Deepa Silla for handling the question and session. Thank you very much for your great contribution, madam. I also would like to thank Professor D.K.N.G. Pushpakumara, the Dean Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, who is also the patron of our Alumni Association, for granting permission for us to use this facility and all the other great supports. Without your valuable support, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you very much, sir. Also, our sincere thanks go to Mr. J.P. Wesley, Assistant Registrar here at Faculty of Agriculture, for your great contribution and supporting us in many ways. I would like to thank and appreciate Dr. Asitha Bandaranayake from Faculty of Engineering for his commitment to solve network-related issues. I'm extremely happy to express our vote of thanks to all the staff members of here at our faculty who have made this webinar a reality. Mr. Waruna Shalnasinha, Mr. Aditandamana, Mr. Charit Isanayaka, thank you very much for your great support. You were more than happy to help us. It was a great encouragement. Thank you so much. I thank all the EXCO members and all the members of our Alumni Association who helped in numerous ways to make this event a success. I would like to thank for all the attendees who participated physically and joined with us online. Once again, thank you all for your cordial cooperation. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Himali Samaraweera. Ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, the webinar event has not ended yet, although the official proceedings is over. This webinar was held at this wonderful facility owned by Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. And I must thank on behalf of the AAFAUP for Dean Agriculture for allowing us to use this to address people around the world by using this facility at this very location at the Faculty Board of Agriculture. So let me now invite the Dean Faculty of Agriculture, who is also the patron of the AAFAUP, to hand over token of appreciation for the three panelists that we have at this particular moment, who have come here to help us to support you. First, Dr. W.M.W. Weerakoon. I think you can come here, Dean, sir. Thank you. Mr. Warusavithana. And Mr. Sumith Liyanage. Well, that ends the day's event, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us and being with us, and especially those people who asked questions from the audience. Thank you very much for your active participation. I'm sure it was a good learning process, and there's a take-home message for everyone. Thank you very much. See you again.